Hi guys. Do tell me if everything's okay. I am using the unpaid version of the software and I'm finally mirrored. Therefore, if I move my hand this way, it actually goes the way that I see it, not like in the other direction, which was like driving me nuts on YouTube. Genuinely was driving me absolutely crazy. Hi everybody. Good to see you guys. Hello. How is everyone doing today? Also, let me put this on before I forget, because we all know that I hate dry lips and they seem to be following me everywhere. Hi, Frost. Oh, hi, Tawny. Good to see you. Oh my God. 1 second. Wait. Sorry. Hi, Paul. Hi, Ian. Hello. Hi, guys. Hello. Oh. Wait. To Paul. Hello. To Paul. Thank you, Tawny. How is everyone doing? How is everyone's day today? Do Ukrainians make forced rhubarb? What is a forced rhubarb? Oh, hello. Good morning. Hi. Hi. What is a forced rhubarb? What am I not getting? Or what am I getting wrong? I don't know what a forced rhubarb is. Too Paul, too furious. That's so funny. Wait, but I am very curious as to what a forced rhubarb is. Can you still speak your native language? Я не знаю, як тобі здається, після того, як я виросла в Україні і прожила тут 16 років і зараз повернулася, думаю, що я не можу говорити своєю рідною мовою. Yes, I do. Oh my God. I do speak my native language, which is Ukrainian, and I've lived in Ukraine until I turned 16 or 17. I don't remember. And therefore, it'd be really freaking weird if I did not speak Ukrainian. Provided I was born and raised here. I get the confusion. I do not sound like what people feel comfortable with an immigrant sounding, because it'd be way easier for you to process if I had an accent like this, right? What city am I from? I'm from Lviv. Cześć, jak się masz? Ładnie. Dziękuję. Hi. Question. A lot of the Ukrainian Twitch streamers I watch seem to either play a lot of zombie games or watch a lot of zombie movies. Is this reflective of Ukrainian entertainment at the present? I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, so I have no idea. So I don't really play computer games or like PlayStation games or like video games in general. I mean, I do. I like video games. I don't have a PS5 or an Xbox here by any means. I would love one. I think that it'd be like super duper expensive to buy here. But I don't really. I don't know. I don't know why people play so many zombie games. As for entertainment here, I have no idea, because I haven't really seen anything that's like relevant to that. I mean, we get the same movies and TV shows as everyone else, plus a bunch of like Ukrainian movies and TV shows. So, which video games? So I like Mafia. I really like Mafia 3. I hope Mafia 4 comes out at some point. I do want to play the new GTA game when that comes out. I also like those like little strategic games that you can play. So I don't remember. Oh, It Takes Two is a good one. Also, there was the one with like the rope things. Oh, I love that one. Oh my God. Because you can play alone and you can also play with like other people. I like quest games too. So here, this is an interesting one. When I was a kid, I really liked this game called Siberia. It was like a game where you had to look for clues and stuff like that. And I'm not going to play it, even if it's still on, and even if like new renditions of this game or new parts are going to come out, because it's based in Siberia. And no, thank you. We're not glorifying Russia by any means, especially in especially through video games and pop culture. RDR, not really. So I don't really like Red Dead Redemption because it's based in like the past, and I prefer more modern things. You know which one? You know which game was really really cool? It was, I used to love The Sims, but the thing is, like, I don't like playing The Sims. I like downloading so much custom content that my like computer goes crazy and the game literally glitches out, and I like building houses and designing them. Surprise. But what's that game? Not Cyberpunk, but what's the game that it's like very techy, and one part of it is based in London, and it's kind of similar to, like, you have missions and stuff like that. I forgot what it was called, but it was so cool. Cool bridge over troubled waters for sure. Yeah, we're gonna get to the news and talk about the news in a few. Watch Dogs, yes, Watch Dogs for sure. I really did like that one. So here's the thing, like, I'm not a gamer and I'm not like super into gaming, right? But I do like playing video games sometimes. I just I definitely don't do it enough to like know all the names and stuff. But yeah, if I had a console, I would play some games. So yeah, Watch Dogs, yes. RDR2 is great. Well, so I don't like the look, right? It's the same as that other game. What was it called? Oh my gosh. I liked Horizon though. I did not like. Hi Juju. Yulia, I saw Anna from Ukraine. Wait. Was looking for somebody that could help with translating, proofreading between Ukrainian and English for a documentary. I immediately thought of you. Yeah, sure. How would I contact her to let her know? The only thing is, like, it depends on how much work, because I this week is like mild, but then next week is supposed to be crazy for me, and after that, everything is supposed to be crazy. So yeah, forcing rhubarb is covering when dormant faces the shoots earlier for your at the beginning of live. Oh, I don't know. Good morning. And the Borderlands. And the what's its face? And the game that I was talking about was Valhalla. I forgot what the actual name of the game is, but the part is Valhalla. So I don't like those games because, like, I don't like the graphics behind them. Where am I from? I'm from Ukraine, and I'm in Ukraine. And also, my neighbor. Wait. Oh my god. Wait. Do you guys hear the music in the background? Do you hear that? Wait, that's wild. No, because this is my neighbor. Who literally does this like every evening until like 3 a.m. And it's pissing me off so much. I can't even. Okay, yeah, you hear it very low. I hear it like it's in here. You guys on TikTok, I need to exit out of the live for a second and I need to call security downstairs because this has been happening like every night, like every goddamn night. And we're trying to figure out who's doing that. But by the time the security comes up, they like don't, you know, they're not playing the music anymore. So give me 1 sec. I'll be back. So the security is likely sleeping. Here is the thing. I would really like to go downstairs or upstairs and yell at them because I can never actually catch it. So I would like to go either to the floor above me or to the floor below me and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Because I listen to this every single night and I don't know where it's coming from. And this is like my chance to catch whatever bullshit is doing this. So let me think of what I can. Here's what I can do. Remember the interview with the Russian special agent, the KGB defector? Maybe I can put that on while I go deal with that. Because I swear, like, I cannot. I hate this so much. 1 second. Let me go to your channel. And I'll be back in like 15 maximum. I don't know. But let me see. Okay, here he is. No, I would not like to. Okay, 1 second. 1 second. Okay. Cool. So it's actually going to go from where we stopped last time. So we're going to do share screen. Okay. Let me see. What do you see on the screen right now? Wait. Here. Do you see? Oh. I forgot. Hi guys. Sorry. I totally forgot that this was even going on TikTok. 2 men in ugly chairs. Perfect. That's what you need to see. Okay.
Freedoms. My ancestors used to live in caves and eat raw meat when India was a highly civilized nation 6,000 years ago. So obviously the choice was not to the advantage of my own nation. I decided to defect and to entirely dissociate myself from that brutal regime.
Mr. Bezmenov, we've read a lot about the concentration camps and the slave labor camps under the Stalin regime. Now the general impression in America is that those things are part of the past. Are they still going on today, or what is the status?
Yes. There is no qualitative change in the Soviet concentration camp system. There are changes in numbers of prisoners. Again, this is unreliable Soviet statistics. We don't know how many political prisoners are there in the Soviet concentration camps, but we sure know from various sources that at each particular time, there are close to 25 to 30 million of Soviet citizens who are virtually kept as slaves in forced labor camp system. Size of population of a country like Canada is serving terms as prisoners.
Incredible.
So I would say that those intellectuals who try to convince American public that concentration camp system is a thing of the past are either conscientiously misleading public opinion, or they are not very intellectual people. They're selectively blind. They lack intellectual honesty when they say that.
Well, we've spoken about the intellectuals in this country and also the intellectuals in the Soviet Union. What about down at the broad mass level? Do the people in general, the working people, the workers in general in the Soviet Union, do they support the system? Do they tolerate it? What is their attitude?
Well, average Soviet citizen, if there is such an animal, of course, does not like the system because it hurts, it kills. He may not understand the reasons. He may not have enough information or educational background to understand. But I doubt very much there are many people who are conscientiously supporting the Soviet system. There are not such people in USSR. Even those who have all the reasons to enjoy socialism, people like myself, who were a member of journalistic elite, they also hate system for different reasons, though. Not because they lack material affluence, but because they are unfree to think, they're in constant fear, duplicity, split personality. And this is the greatest tragedy for my nation.
Well, what do you think are the chances of the people actually overcoming their system or replacing it?
There is a great possibility that system will sooner or later be destroyed from within. There is a self-destructive mechanism built into any socialist or communist or fascist system, because there is lack of feedback, because the system does not rely upon loyalty of population. But until this Soviet junta is being supported by the Western so-called imperialists, that is, multinational companies, establishments, governments, and let's face it, intellectuals, so-called academia in the United States is famous for supporting the Soviet system. As long as the Soviet junta will keep on receiving credits, money, technology, grain deals, and political recognition from all these traitors of democracy or freedom, there is no hope. There is not much hope for changes in my country, and the system will not collapse by itself simply because it's being nourished by so-called American imperialism. This is the greatest paradox in history of mankind, when capitalist world supports and actively nourishes its own destructor.
I think you're trying to tell us something.
Oh,
in
yes.
This country. Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to tell you that it has to be stopped unless you want to end up in Gulag system and enjoy all the advantages of socialist equality. Working for free, catching fleas on your body, sleeping on the planks of plywood in Alaska this time, I guess. That's where Americans will belong, unless they will wake up, of course, and force their government to stop aiding Soviet fascism.
Well, you told us a moment ago why you left the system. I'd like to hear the details of how you did it. It must have been a very dangerous thing.
It was not so dangerous, it was crazy. First of all, because defecting in India is virtually impossible, thanks to very strong pressure from the Soviet government.
Excuse me, you were in India on assignment at that time.
Yes, I was working for the Soviet embassy in New Delhi as a press officer. Mm-hmm. And defecting for a Soviet diplomat is next to impossible. It's a suicide, as I said, because a great friend Indira Gandhi pushed a law through parliament which says, and I quote, "No defector from any country has a right of political asylum in any embassy on the territory of Indian Republic," which is a masterpiece of hypocrisy. No other defector but the Soviet one needs a political asylum. So knowing that perfectly well, I planned a craziest possible way to defect. I studied counterculture in India. There were thousands of young American boys and girls with no shoes, long hair, smoking hash and marijuana, studying sometimes Indian philosophy, sometimes simply pretending that they studied. And they greatly annoyed Indian police, and they were laughing stock of Indians because obviously they were good for nothing students. I studied carefully where they congregate, what routes they travel, what language they speak, what do they smoke. And one day I simply joined a group of hippies to avoid detection of Indian police. I was dressed as a typical hippie with blue jeans, long camise shirts with all kind of nice decorations like beads, long hairs. I bought a wig because for several weeks I had to turn myself from a conservative Soviet diplomat into a very progressive American hippie. And that was the only way that I could avoid detection. It was very interesting experience, but it was necessary because from my own knowledge as a member of
Hi. So every single time I go down there, I feel like these people know that I'm going down there, so they shut up, and I don't understand. Like, I just don't get it. But hey, there is a record of this playing, all loud, as much as loud as they can at fucking 1 a.m. And like, okay, fine, I'm doing a live right now, but normally this is till like 3 a.m, and my bedroom feels like a freaking, like, I don't know, really poor taste in music disco every night. So yeah, can safely say hi Chad, I'm really, really freaking tired of these people downstairs playing there. And it's like horrendous music too. It's like really bad EDM, or like really bad like dubstep, or like, I don't even know, but whatever. I think it's a dude, and like he just needs a much better taste in music if he's gonna play it this loud, so loud that it's gonna that it's gonna like be heard all over my apartment. Hi, Chad. I have an either downstairs or an upstairs neighbor who thinks that it's totally okay to play their music so loud that my entire apartment just like, vibrates. And I can hear it loud and clear every night until like 3 a.m. I wonder what this person fucking does for a living. Like, why? Why are they there 24/7? Like on Saturday, this stuff starts at 10 a.m. At 10 a.m., this man or woman is listening to horrendous EDM. And it doesn't stop, like, at any point. It also does not stop at any point on Sunday. And usually it's like, it starts around 8 p.m. And if I'm watching TV, like, I don't always hear it, but if I'm going to sleep and there is no like TV on or anything in my apartment, then this music is like and that's like always, just all the time. Sounds like people in the party bus. Yeah, but like that was one time, and this is just like every day since I've moved in, almost every day. Hi, Salty Red. Would you get help from local council? So I have security downstairs in my building, and they're looking for which apartment is doing that. And so they're going to, like, they've promised me that they will stop it. And also the guy who's like, I think he's the senior security guard. He's really great. He's really sweet. He's Belarusian. He actually served in the Kostas Kalinowski unit, which is the unit, the Belarusian unit that serves Ukrainian armed forces, and he's very sweet. And I've given him donuts and candy before, and so we've got a bond. We've got a bond. Odessa again under fire. Yeah, I can only imagine. Russia never gives up, do they? I mean, that's a rhetorical question. So actually, from the other night's fire in Odessa, there were 12 victims that were discovered. So earlier today, the count was 10, and by later today, the count became 12. Also, is there anyone here from Italy? Because Grumpy had told me that he had found information that in Italy, textbooks, like high school textbooks, are now officially showing Crimea as Russia in their textbooks, and that's what they teach. So I'm curious if that's true or if it isn't. So if you are from Italy and you can pick up a textbook and a history or a geography one, or a couple, you could go to like a bookstore and check. I would really, really appreciate that, because I am very, very curious. Ask other neighbors if they know who it is. Usually if multiple units complain, management will more likely do something. Candy always a good way to get security on your side. Yeah, so it's not like that. This is condos. So I'm renting in Ukraine, like it's not management that owns. It's like, the build multiple apartment owners rent out their apartments. So like a couple apartments in this building belong to the woman from whom I'm renting it. And it's not like they're very interested in finding who's doing that, because she has multiple units here that she rents out to people. So she's, no one really wants to piss her off. But also because like they're very nice and they're happy to help. Kind of unrelated question. Who did you support in the first round in the 2019 election? So Ukraine has this super duper useful field. It's called voting against everyone. So because we've had elections stolen, like, Yanukovych stole the election from Yushchenko multiple times, and that's how Orange Revolution happened. And because we've had a lot of things like that happen, Ukrainians have a very high voter turnout, because even if we don't like the candidates and we don't want to vote for a specific candidate, we don't just not show up. We actually vote. We exercise our right to vote, and we vote against everybody, because we don't want our vote stolen. Now, no one's like forging elections anymore. But during Yanukovych, during Kuchma, before that, so before 2014, obviously there was a lot of election fraud. And so we are programmed to always vote. Actually, if there are any people here who are married to Ukrainians, they will likely tell you that before they got married to a Ukrainian person, they might have not voted. And after they got married to a Ukrainian person, they started voting, because the Ukrainian person likely forced them to vote. And yeah, that's that. So I absolutely stand by this statement, and I believe that people who are married to Ukrainians, if there are any in this chat, are going to come forward and say that that's true, because if they didn't vote before, they started voting after they got married to a Ukrainian, because we are very, very, very serious about our right to vote. So yeah, is my neighbor quiet now? Yes. I'm seeing Crimea Bridge was hit tonight. Yes, I'm seeing that too, but we have very little information on that. Also, Odessa is being hit tonight, and there was another town in Donetsk that was hit last night. And however, the airstrikes are not nearly as intense and not nearly as grand as they were like a couple of months ago. Russia has, for instance, and I don't want to jinx it, but usually with events like, the anniversary of the full-scale invasion, or like Easter or something like that, or 8th of March, which is like the International Women's Day, Russia usually launches very large airstrikes across the country. And there haven't been large airstrikes across the country, which indicates that Russia does have an issue with missile production and the amount of missiles. That is not to say that like, oh yeah, we have nothing to worry about, but it's but that's kind of what it's been. And it's very interesting that there is really no other reason why they wouldn't be bombarding us out of the wazoo. Thank you so much. That was very sweet. Thank you, Foodie. Also, okay, we're gonna start the news because I want to be able to start the news at a reasonable time today. What was I gonna say? Our fundraiser yesterday got to $10,653, which puts us $347 away from 11,000. And even if we could get half of that tonight, that would be so super duper duper. That was a horrifying way to put that, but you know what? Run with it. So, oh, thank you. I got these. It's a Ukrainian brand of earrings, and I got them when I first got to Ukraine. Not even the people of oh my God, not even the people of Russia will stand up for Russia. Russian people have never stood up for Russia. Actually, before we get into the news, I would like to bust a myth here. So there is a myth, right? The way that it's been, oh yay, wait, we got $10 for the fundraiser. So we are at $10,663. The fundraiser is for 6 DJI Mavic 3 Pro drones for third separate assault. We are at $10,663. If you donate during the live, your donation is going to be announced. If you don't want your name announced, write that in the comment, but because I can't see the comments because I see it show up on the screen over there, I usually just announce the amount of the donation and the total after that. If you would like to donate to the fundraiser, the link to do so on YouTube is going to be posted in the chat anytime now. There we have it. And if you want to donate on TikTok, then you can find the link in my bio. In the meanwhile, I wanted to bust a myth. So the way that they teach the Russian Revolution from the Imperial Russia in the US and in the world is that, Russians stood up against the evil empire. No, Russians it's never grassroots. It's never Russians standing up for like their ideals and then choosing a good candidate, right? It wouldn't let me comment in the desktop PayPal. Aw, I'm sorry. Oh, wait. Oh my God. $199.99. $199.99, which brings us to $10,862.99. Sorry, I saw the amount and freaked out, so I did not see the name, but whoever that was, thank you so incredibly, very, very much. That was a very generous donation. And now Martin is going to freak out because we are at 99 cents. There is also, thank you, Paul. There is a $3 donation, which brings us to $10,865.99. And every single time I say 99 cents or any cents, a part of Martin just dies a little bit. And who is the hero? Yes, please come forward. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. So here, Bob is the hero. I was just talking about it, and I was like, I saw the amount and freaked out and didn't see who donated it. And then I was like, please come forward, and you did. So round of applause. Thank you so much. Yulia is the hero. No, Yulia is not the hero. Yes, I know. I did. That's you started the trend, Mark. But yeah, so before I get too lost in the ADHD of being so very happy with $10,865.99, I would like to bust a legend here. So a lot of the times when we hear about the Russian Revolution, we hear about how Russians stood up and they overthrew the empire, and then Bolsheviks came. Like no. So it wasn't Russians that stood up and overthrew the Tsar. It was the Bolsheviks who overthrew the Tsar, and thank you, Tawny, 3401, which brings us to $10,900, which is a nice even number, Martin. But so no, it was the Bolsheviks. The Bolsheviks overthrew the Tsar and became the new Tsar, basically. And the thing is that if you look at Russian history, that people have never ever done anything grassroots. They have never taken over the government or like actually demanded something grassroots. It's always a new leader trying to overthrow a previous leader. So in fact, it's always been a coup in Russia. Meanwhile, in Ukraine, I love when all of these like far right crazies say things like, oh, 2014 coup in Ukraine. Okay, so they say that it was the far right people who overthrew the government. Okay, so the far right people organized thousands of Ukrainians to come out to Maidan and overthrow the government because the Ukrainians were brainwashed, by the far right Nazism. So why didn't the far right Nazis then end up in power in Ukraine? And why did Ukrainians have elections and those Nazis were not even on the ballot? It wasn't a coup. So also, a lot of these far right speakers really love saying like Yanukovych was a democratically elected president and he was overthrown. So actually, here's what happened. We were gaslit and he lied to us. First of all, he ran first in 2004 against Yushchenko, and he ran on a pro-Russian platform with lots of propaganda attached to it. And Yushchenko ran on a pro-European platform. And Yanukovych stole the election 2 times until the 3rd time, the people literally were like watching the polling stations and would not let that happen, and came out to the main square of Ukraine in Maidan Nezalezhnosti, which means the Square of Independence, and like would not let it happen. Also, thank you, Richard, $100, which puts us at $11,000, which is wow. And so the people came out to protest that. The second time that Yanukovych ran, he ran on a pro-European platform, and he was promising to move away from Russia and to move towards the European Union and Euro integration. Now, obviously, we didn't believe that. But then at some point, his rival, so the person who ran against him, Yulia, who's also a terrible, shady character, but she was just the lesser of 2 evils, we were going to elect her because she was at least pro-European. And he was like just an idiot. Like he couldn't put 2 words together. He couldn't read from a teleprompter. Like he could not speak Ukrainian. So what he was doing is he was running on this pro-European platform. No one believed him. And then this information leaked that, so Ukraine negotiated this horrendous deal with Russia at some point, where Ukraine was obligated to buy Russian gas way above market price and in quantities that we didn't need. And no one knew who was responsible for that deal. So information leaked that she, Yulia Tymoshenko, was responsible for this horrendous gas deal in which Ukraine was basically being robbed blind for gas we didn't need at prices that were just unreasonable, in quantities that were unreasonable, and we were on the hook for it. So obviously, the people who voted for him were just disillusioned by her and were like, okay, well, maybe he is pro-European because she's over here doing all of these maneuvers with Russia. So no one elected him because he was pro-Russian. He was elected because he was running on a pro-European platform. And then when he was going to that summit, he was going to sign the European integration contract or proposal. And instead of that, without even saying anything to the people, because he knew that was going to cause a revolution, he blindsided the people, said no to the European agreement, and said that he wanted to join CSTO, like Russia's trade agreement. So the students from universities in Kyiv came out to protest, and then they were swatted. So when those students were swatted, that's when Ukrainian people were like, okay, this is a very pro-Russian situation that definitely has roots in Russia, and this is not just Yanukovych being stupid. This is 100% an attempt to take us over. So people came out and started protesting because our own president sent SWAT against protesters. And then he started implementing laws like you can't have public gatherings. They started jamming cell phones on Maidan. You can't wear helmets. You can't assemble in groups of more than 3 people and stuff like that. So it was all of these laws and all of these regulations were clearly aimed at like disbanding this movement and at getting people incarcerated. Like, for instance, a lot of people were wearing coverings on their faces because they didn't want the SWAT that was listening to the president, who was obviously anti-democratic and anti the population. Were Turchinov and Yatsenyuk good prime ministers? No. But so people were wearing coverings because they did not want to be recognized or like, you know, or taken pictures of, and they didn't want their families to be stalked or harassed or whatever. And so he came out with a law that forbade people from wearing face coverings, but people didn't care anyway. And so at the point at which it became like the government using the police, SWAT officers, and private security companies to attack the people who were peacefully protesting, oh, that turned into a very, 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 very not pretty situation. And also as to Yatsenyuk, oh my gosh, no, Yatsenyuk was just like, he's like this type of guy who was like running around the different parties and running around the different fractions and running around the different political figures and kind of like being their little bitch. So for instance, there is this really, I think it was Yatsenyuk, right? Hey, Ukrainians, do tell me. There is this video of him that is actually hilarious when Yulia Tymoshenko was in jail, because Yanukovych put her there. Now she does belong in jail, just not on the charges on which he put her there, because he put her there as like a personal thing. So no one expected her to get out of jail, right? And so when Yanukovych was ousted, when he fled rather, she came out of jail because the charges against her that he put her to jail on were fabricated. And so she got out of jail, thank you, Charles, and no one expected this. And so Yatsenyuk, who clearly stole a ton of money, that was supposed to be his and hers, right? Like they had their own biz going on, who's like sort of changed camps a million times. He kind of went wherever the wind of money blew, right? She came out of prison and she calls him as he's being interviewed, and he picks up the phone and he's like, Yulia, yay, it's so good to hear from you. And you can tell this man knows he's screwed, and he is not happy that she came out of jail. Actually, like, you know what? I'm gonna show you. I am gonna show you. Richard, yes, and I said thank you. Thank you so very much. You brought the total to 11,000 even, which is wow. But and sorry, I don't mean to diminish it. I just really want to show you this video. Yes, oh my God. This, please, here. Getting back on. Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Yulia! Yulia! Моя дорога, куди ти їдеш? Скажи мені.
Зараз не розмовляє телефоном.
Like, this is not a face of a happy man who's happy that his like coworker got out of jail. He looks petrified. This man is literally like, he in his head he's thinking how he's going to repent for all of his sins and how he's going to like move all of the assets that he has stolen that would have otherwise been hers to like offshore accounts. This man is like not happy. So yeah, he's also like, where are you going now? I think he's trying to figure out how much time he has before he actually sees her. So like, yeah. And like this is you know, one of the many really like meme worthy videos that we've had with like Ukrainian politicians of the past who were like really bad. It's yeah, it's I love that video. I feel like what is it? My dad joked about this at some point when I like ran into an ex-boyfriend, and he was like, "Hi," and my dad was like, he made literally the same face as Gitsenyuk. Oh, Martin, look at you, daredevil. 1234, so we're at $11,012.34, and the man who usually evens out the numbers is the one who caused the you know, the tail of the cents. I think everyone who could was moving money offshore during Yanukovych period. Yeah, but see, like Yatsenyuk changed alliances to Yanukovych and his party, obviously to stay in power and to keep stealing money when Yulia was in prison. And when she went to prison, she was like his boss, right? So he now didn't have a boss. So he didn't want her out of prison, because when she's out of prison, that means that they had to share the cut, and she had to take the upper cut and he would get some of the cut. And when she was not there, he became the boss, right? Because he switched alliances and was like doing whatever. So that's sort of the thing, that when she came out of prison, he wasn't happy, because that's your boss who is now supposedly, you know, who's going to be like, is going to be hitting you up for all that money that you took, you know? So that's kind of, do you remember with Zelenko in his head? No. Where is he now? I don't know, and I don't want to know. No one has heard from him in a very long time. I think he lives abroad because there's so many charges against him because he's a corrupt POS. I don't know where he's now. And I honestly, like, I don't want to know where he's now. I don't. That is like the last thing that interests me is where Yatsenyuk is now, and I can guarantee you that many other Ukrainian people are going to have the same idea here. No one cares where he's now, right? As long as he doesn't resurface back on our political scene. Okay. Among those killed in a drone strike in Odessa were a military couple, Oleg and Tatiana Kravets, and their 7-month-old daughter, Liza. In the morning, the bodies of the mother and the child were pulled out from under the rubble. 2 more children of Tatiana are currently being searched for under the rubble of the house, 9-year-old Serhiy and 8-year-old Zlata. Those were actually confirmed dead. Friends of the family told Suspilne earlier today. The State Emergency Service reported that 5 people who were on the list of those who could be at the scene of the impact got in touch. So actually, Serhiy and Zlata were confirmed dead, unfortunately. And the victim count rose to 12. Italy will take away its SAM-T air defense system from Slovakia. According to the country's prime minister, Robert, someone was telling me it's like Fico or something, or Fizzo, but I don't necessarily care to pronounce his last name right just because he is an asshole. Italy leased air defense to Slovakia for a year and will now withdraw the complex because it is needed elsewhere. Fizzo added that Slovakia's strategic facilities, in particular nuclear power plants, will be left unprotected, and the previous government transferred a functioning S-300 air defense system to Ukraine. Fizzo, which is fitting. Yeah, I think it's like Fizzo. But so, well, I mean, I guess Italy is taking it away from Fizzo because he doesn't want to give Ukraine anything, and clearly it's not like they actually need air defense for their nuclear power plants unless they're literally at the border, which I doubt they are. Finnish defense minister called on Western partners to increase support for Ukraine in the war with Russia. Finnish media Yle reported. He emphasized the urgency of finding money to support arms in Ukraine immediately. At the same time, he highlighted the importance of increasing the production of weapons in EU countries, noting that there have been certain successes in this direction. European countries were able to increase their own production, and they're close to achieving the goal of delivering the promised shells to Ukraine. Pietro, so you are Italian. Maybe you weren't here when I asked earlier, but so I've been told information that textbooks in Italy have been changed to represent Crimea as Russian, not Ukrainian. And I don't know if it's in history books or in geography books, but it's like high school books or like school books. So I was wondering if you are in Italy and you have the ability to go to a bookstore and check out a couple of textbooks and see if that's true, or if you can look up the local news. I would like to know if it's correct or not. Russians hit Kurakhova, 16 injured, 15 high-rise buildings damaged. According to preliminary information, the enemy used a guided aerial bomb, said the head of the Donetsk Regional State Administration, Vadim Filashkin. Rescuers have just found the body of a 10-year-old boy under the rubble of a destroyed house in Odessa. The number of victims as a result of the terrorist attack increased to 11 at that point, including 4 children. Rescuers are still looking for the 8-year-old girl under the rubble as of 7:10 p.m., and they have found her under the rubble and confirmed her dead. So that is 5 children and 12 victims. The impact of war extends far beyond human casualties, as innocent animals also endure tremendous suffering amid war. So actually, there is this guy, his name is Anton Tutushkin, and he's a Ukrainian blogger, and I met him the other weekend by accident. Apparently, like, we follow each other. I just did not know that he used to, I didn't know who he was. And I didn't know what he looked like because I have terrible memory for like faces if I've only seen them online in passing. But so he followed me at some point and I followed him back, and we exchanged like a couple of messages, and then I saw him at an event, the opening of a memorial. He was there and we got to chatting, and so he just created a documentary about animals in war, and it's really, really good. I'm going to send you his. He used to be like a very, 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 very popular travel account in Ukraine. Yes, I do recommend you check out his account. It's on Instagram and on YouTube, I believe. Let me check that I'm spelling it right. He is like, I don't know if he doesn't really do travel blogging right now that much, obviously, but he fundraises a lot, and he's incredible. He has a very, very large audience, and he does help the armed forces a lot. Like he goes dangerous areas, he fundraises, he's really, really great. I do recommend that you check him out. And his thank you, Michael. And his channel is Kat, are you ready? Or if you can copy it from YouTube, it's Ptuxerman, so like Ptucherman, because Anton Ptushkin. I'm gonna show you the trailer to the documentary about animals in war that he had been working on recently. And our total for the fundraiser is now $11,032.34. Okay.
Ніколи в житті я не думав, що буду знімати щось про тварин.
Каждый в этой войне должен помогать тем, чем он может. Я могу и помогаю животным.
So there are subtitles, and I think you'll have a better time finding this in
Все убегали, все выезжали, а мы, как ненормальные, идем спасать кота. Не, он дышит.
Вони залишились там просто зачинені в клітках без їжі і води.
Они другие, но они такие же. И они также страдают.
Залізну сітку вони зубами намагалися розірвати і втекти. Падали снаряди, тряслась земля.
Живий.
Сльози. А ще привіт, Шука.
Лена, твоя воронка жива, вона в дуже поганому стані, але вона жива.
У серці повно ледве гріх.
І це красномовно говорить про те, що у головах і серцях українців.
Темрява зливала всі шляхи.
Такое чувство, как будто ты дома, в уюте, в тепле.
Це просто промінь надії якісь.
Когда есть о ком заботиться, чувствуешь себя человеком лучше.
Хто із нас не сам, ніхто не сам.
Вони б не стали домашніми, якщо б не ця трагедія.
Хто із нас не сам.
Рятувати тварин, щоб залишатися людиною.
Тримається шафа, тримаємося ми.
Well, for now, it's just a trailer, and it's available with English subtitles on his channel, which is where I recommend you watch it.
Це багато говорить про українців і про
So it's about how Ukraine. So here, the impact of war extends far beyond human casualties, as innocent animals also endure tremendous suffering amid war. Ukrainian blogger and volunteer Anton Ptushkin shot a film entirely devoted to animals in Ukraine during the war. By creating a film solely focused on the experiences of animals in Ukraine, Ptushkin brings attention to their silent suffering and underscores the importance of acknowledging their plight. While animals cannot vocalize their pain in words, Ptushkin's film serves as a powerful medium to convey their stories and advocate for their well-being during wartime. Oh, yeah. So this is actually a phenomenal you support Azov since 2008. Azov didn't exist in 2008. Azov was created in 2014 as a result of the Ukrainian invasion of Russia into Ukraine. That makes no sense. Azov did not exist did not exist in 2008. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. Yeah, so it's a phenomenal documentary. As an animal right activist myself, it's really important that someone has a voice for the animals, as they cannot speak themselves. Well, Pietro, yeah, that spells out Azov, but you literally cannot support it since 2008 because it didn't exist in 2008. But anyways, so the documentary is very important because it also shows how Ukrainians would go back and would go through crazy circumstance and risk their own lives to save these animals. And it's like phenomenal. You've seen all of these videos of frontline soldiers who have been saving cats and dogs and risking their own lives to do that. And it really shows what we're like as a nation, and that's I'm looking forward to this documentary. He also made a documentary about Veselka, the Ukrainian food restaurant in New York. China's Special Representative for Eurasian Affairs, Li Hui, visited Russia on March 2nd, where he engaged in discussions about the war in Ukraine with the Deputy Foreign Minister of the Russian Federation, Mikhail Galuzin, as reported by Reuters. According to statements from the department, there was a very active and thorough exchange of views on the Ukrainian crisis. Yeah, China keeps calling it the Ukrainian crisis. Between the diplomats, it was highlighted that any deliberation regarding a political and diplomatic resolution is deemed unattainable without the involvement of Russia and the consideration of its security interests. Yeah, okay. What I would like to say here is go F yourself, China, because no one cares about Russia's interests anymore. That ship has sailed when they attacked a sovereign nation and started lying about everything on their way. So that just doesn't really matter. They should have thought about that earlier. In February, Russia experienced its highest average daily military losses since the onset of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, as reported by the Ministry of Defense of the UK. According to the agency, Russian occupying forces suffered an average of 983 casualties per day throughout February. British intelligence estimates that Russia has likely incurred more than 355,000 servicemen killed and wounded during the course of the war in Ukraine. The escalation in the average daily casualty rate likely reflects Russia's commitment to a massive war of attrition. Although this comes at a significant cost in terms of human lives, this tactic serves to intensify pressure on Ukraine's positions along the entire front line, stated British intelligence. And that's why it's so important to support Ukraine, so we have the ability to actually, to move the front line to our borders. So Russia is where they belong, back in their shithole country. Pardon my French. I'm just learning, just took up the course recently. According to the Wall Street Journal, during the 2022 mobilization, Putin exploited the open Russian borders to allow hundreds of thousands of Russians to flee to Europe, Central Asia, and Caucasus, while simultaneously dispatching intelligence agents among them. This is why Russia never closed its borders, even during mobilization. The decision came after many Russian diplomats were recalled to Russia, prompting Putin to augment the ranks of spies. Currently, Russian agents are displaying increasing audacity and ingenuity in suppressing dissent abroad. They may be implicated in the high-profile assassinations of Russian defectors, with particular focus given to the death of Russian pilot Maksim Kuzminov. That was the guy who... He was a helicopter pilot, I believe, and he brought it over to the territory of Ukraine. He was given full immunity and a lot of money. I think it was $500,000 or something like that. And and he obviously, like, the Russians are not given like Ukraine citizenships or whatnot. They're usually offered an exchange to a different country that will give them asylum. And in this case, I believe it was the US or something. Actually, I don't remember. I don't quote me on this because I'm not very brushed up on his story. I know that he was killed. And it does look, oh, it was Spain. Okay. Makes sense. So yeah, thank you for correcting me. I need to brush up on his story. I mean, I know the story of how he defected to Ukraine and all that. I do not know the story of where he was murdered. But it did, you know, it does have like Russia's fingerprints all over it, because why would he just suddenly be murdered? Yeah. It does seem like Russia's favorite punishment, especially after they got his parents out. Yeah, well, I mean, he knew what he was doing, right? On Monday, NATO begins the Nordic Response 2024 exercise to defend its newly expanded territory, with more than 20,000 soldiers from 13 countries taking part in the exercise in Finland, Norway, and Sweden. You know what's actually very interesting? If you think about it, the place where these Russian defectors are the safest is Ukraine. They're not safe anywhere in the world but Ukraine, because Ukraine does not allow any Russians into the country. So interestingly, you know, Russian defectors, Russian POWs, like anyone who really decides to do the right thing and not support Russia anymore, and not, you know, like, and want to keep their life, they're likely the safest on the territory of Ukraine, which is quite hilarious because there are bombs flying. But there's probably less of a chance of them actually being like murdered by a Russian KGB agent. You know, like, it's named FSB now, but same thing, tomato, tomato. Main Intelligence Directorate reports that as a result of a DDoS attack, its cyber specialists gained access to the servers. Oh, wait, 6245. 6245, which brings us to $11,094.79. Main Intelligence Directorate reports that as a result of a DDoS attack, its cyber specialists gained access to the servers of the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation and obtained a lot of data about the military leadership of the occupiers, orders, reports, and orders of the Russians. The intelligence says that the received information allows establishing the complete structure of the system of the Russian Ministry of Defense and its links. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, I mean, Ukraine has been doing a fantastic job breaking into Russia's, breaking the barriers of Russia's security and cybersecurity, and Ukraine has been doing fantastic in that. Oh, hi, Bruno. Hi, Brazil. And hi, Kurt. Good to see you. The EU may present a formal proposal for the use of profits from frozen Russian assets for the benefit of Ukraine in 2 weeks, as reported. You are a Russian plant. That's so funny. Plant? Nothing grows in Russia, honey. Most of it is taiga, and it's just like not suitable for healthy growth of plants. So no. Also, I'm not a plant. I'm a human. Do I look like a plant to you? I mean, I'm wearing green-ish. Doesn't make me a plant. I have a plant. Do you want to see my plant? Anyways. So, formal plan. We talked about the fact that such profits will be used to restore Ukraine. It is necessary to, first of all, protect the interests of the country that needs to be restored. Therefore, such a step, use of assets of the Russian Federation, would be absolutely justified, the unnamed EU diplomat told reporters. The deputy chairman of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, Medvedev, asserted that territories on both banks of the Dnipro River are integral to Russia's strategic historical borders. Strategic historical borders. Strategic historical borders. These two things kind of clash together, but that's okay. Also, Brazil, oh my gosh. Not obrigado, that's thank you. Ciao is hello. Yeah. I forgot everything in Portuguese. Angela hasn't been here in a long time. You know? I do remember Valeo. Hi, Dominic. Macron's statement about the potential possibility of sending troops to Ukraine shows that the importance of Kyiv's victory has reached Western policymakers and they're ready to do more, Estonian Foreign Minister Margus Tsahkna said. If you are Estonian and I butchered that, please correct me. Belgium has announced its readiness to allocate funds from profits derived from frozen Russian assets to support Ukrainian defense needs. Belgium has reported receiving 1.7 billion euros in profit from Russian assets within the budget. A portion of these funds is designated to assist Ukrainian refugees in the EU, stated Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal. He further added, Belgium is partially prepared to finance Ukrainian requirements, particularly in defense. The European Commission is set to propose granting Ukraine full membership in the EU defense industry support scheme. This initiative aims to leverage Kyiv's expertise and facilitate its alignment with the EU standards, thereby advancing Ukraine's progress towards EU membership, as reported by Euractiv. Hey, Super Hornet. The random Brazilian steakhouse. Oh my gosh, Carlos, you have to send it. So Carlos found a random Brazilian steakhouse in Kyiv that's supposedly very good. And he sent it to me like a long time ago. And I forgot. So you should like send it to me again. As a result of a missile attack on the Gvardeyskaya air base in occupied Crimea, the airfield taxiway sustained damage. Aw, sad. Thank you. And 3 Russian military personnel were wounded, according to Astra. 2 unidentified missiles struck the airbase's territory at approximately 16:00 on March 1st, so that's 4 p.m. Kyiv time. Both missiles detonated upon impact. The 37th Mixed Air Regiment of the Russian Air Force is stationed at the Gvardeyskaya airfield, the report states. The EU labeled the attack by a Russian drone on a high-rise building in Odessa on March 2nd, which resulted in the deaths of 12 people, including 5 children, as a war crime. I mean, it's interesting that this particular attack is a war crime, and every attack that Russia conducts on civilian infrastructure is just not labeled as anything, you know, it's just whatever. All of these things are war crimes. The way that Russia conducts war is one giant, blown up war crime. It's horrendous because, you know, when Russia strikes Kyiv, they strike civilian infrastructure all the time. When Russia strikes Lviv, it's civilian infrastructure. When Russia strikes anything, it's always civilian infrastructure. And people used to think like, oh, they're missiles, just like, you know, like they just have like shit aim. Like, no, they do. Sometimes it's about bad aim, and sometimes it's because their missiles are just not as guided as they would like them to be, and sometimes it's purposeful. Like when they carpet bomb cities to the ground. Cindy is having a bad dream. Oh, you guys. Wait, let me go get her. My dog is having a bad dream and she's like barking in her dream. One sec. Baba, how are you doing, little lady? Shina. Shinona. I'm sorry. Oh, Baba. Okay. She is very comfortable where she is, so I'm not going to pick her up. But you heard her little like in her sleep, right? That, like, broke my heart. Jeez, I had to wake her up and like and you know, like give her some pets. I believe targeting civilians is purposeful. It is purposeful. Russia is committing genocide. You need a puppy cam? Oh my gosh. I mean, I do have a puppy cam. I don't know what habitual line crosser does, but I can't show her to you because my my USB-C that connects to my camera is just not long enough for me to carry it all the way there. But yeah, is the other one still at the doggy boot camp? Yes, she is. She was supposed to come back today, but that would mean so he asked if he can bring her tomorrow, because if I wanted to pick her up today, I would have to go way outside of the city, and I don't have a car to pick her up and then bring her back, and not all the taxis take you with a dog. And tomorrow he can just drive her here whenever. So we're gonna do that. And she's doing much better, it looks like. I would show you videos, but they're on that phone, unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah. And that is all I have for you tonight. That is, there was an ongoing attack on Odessa. So far, I do not see. I'm a US taxpayer. Can you imagine? You know who isn't? You anonymous little account created yesterday. Anyways, YouTuber. YouTuber? What? Wait, what? Can you talk about situation in Kyiv today? How war had affected you all? Well, you can come to my streams and I can tell you more about the situation in Kyiv. You can also look at my TikTok and Instagram and Twitter, and I post quite a bit across the platforms, and I try to give as much information as I can so everyone is informed. And I mean, the war, like, we live in war. How has the war affected us? You know, there are air raid alerts very often. So a lot of the times, well, right now, actually, the past month has been not nearly as bad as usual, but normally you wake up every 2 days in the middle of the night at like 4 a.m. and you have to shelter in your bathroom or in an underground shelter, or like in your hallway, because it's the rule of four walls and of four structure walls. And you're just constantly exhausted. Also, politically there is a lot going on, and you're constantly on edge, and there are people that dying at the front every day. So yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun by any means. It's affected us a lot, and we are at 11,099.79. Have I seen Russian forces IRL? No, I have not, because I do not live in a frontline territory. And when the invasion happened, when the invasion started, the full-scale invasion, I was actually in my 13th year of living in the United States, and I've moved back home to Ukraine the second that I was able to, so I am now here. And I hope that I never get to see Russian forces IRL, because if I saw Russian forces IRL, that would mean that they reached Kyiv, and that is not something I would like to happen. And I've been to pre-frontline cities. I've been to Zaporizhia, and I'm planning on going to, you know what, we'll talk about that later. That's not important right now, but yeah. But I am not planning on getting anywhere near Russian forces, hopefully, because if I had seen Russian forces IRL, provided that I'm a woman, I would probably be assayed or killed. Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just like, the thing is, as a woman, if I had seen Russian forces at some point, I likely would not have been here. Or if I was, I'd probably be severely traumatized because they just R-word women. Is Donetsk near the front? Donetsk is an occupied territory of Ukraine. And yes, it is actually very near the front because Avdiivka is very close to Donetsk. All right. Oh no, I know who Habitual Line Crosser is. He's good. I just, that's not, I was just confused because it just said YouTuber. Donetsk has been occupied since 2014. So your friend must be living in occupation for 10 years. Yeah. Well, alrighty, guys. I am gonna go to sleep because 2:37 a.m. and we know how good I am at going to bed on time. I'm not. I'm trying to fix my schedule. Oh, your friend is a soldier in the Ukrainian army. Oh, hi, Sakai. Russia lost before they started. Yeah, but then, still at a price of Ukrainian people's lives. So hopefully the bad EDM has stopped. Yes, it does look like it had. All right, you guys, I shall see you tomorrow. I will try to, I'll try to go live earlier. Let us know when you will fix your sleeping schedule. Thanks, Kat. I will. See you tomorrow. Good night. Good night, guys.